Hello, my multifamily friends. Welcome back to You Asked, We Answered, brought to you by Southwest Utility Solutions, where we break down your multifamily questions. My name is Caroline, and I am your certified question answerer. And today I am answering more of a plea than a question, and that is, I need help understanding my HPB audit. All right, cool. So we are going to quickly break down that audit and the key point that is worth talking about in terms of the HPB audit and what you should be paying attention to if you understand nothing else about it. So if you are pursuing a green lending program for your multifamily community, and that program is through Fannie Mae, and that program has something to do with their Green Rewards program, you have to have what's referred to as an HPB audit performed. This audit basically breaks down the state of the current utility equipment installed on your community. When I say utility equipment, what I am referring to is equipment installed inside the unit and on site that has anything to do with a utility. Water, gas, electricity, that kind of thing. So like shower heads, washers and dryers, boiler systems, windows, AC systems, toilets, faucets, aerators, that kind of thing, okay? This particular program through Fannie Mae, very quickly at a high level, what the requirements are to even be considered for this kind of program. So you have to be an existing multifamily community that is 10 or more units in size. You, in order to be in compliance with this kind of program, you have to demonstrate achieving a threshold of 30% and a reduction of utility usage on site. That can be a combination of water and energy. You have 12 months to do it. Normally it involves water conservation and some form of energy conservation. Just kind of depends. That's normally what I see being done to get into compliance with these programs. And during the 12 months of pursuing this project, right, you have to do what's referred to as utility benchmarking, which is nothing more than taking your utility bill data for every type of utility on your property, breaking down how it's being paid for, whether it's billed through to the tenant or you are responsible for it, and then based on whose responsibility it is to pay for this bill, how it's being allocated out, and what is the correlating consumption with each of those bills, okay? You have to record that kind of data every single month. And most of the time, you also have to input a historical basis of usage for each utility. So if it takes you 12 months to do water conservation, then you need to establish some sort of normalcy by also inputting 12 months of historical data or consumption data that would have been experienced pre-installation of any sort of conservation effort, okay? So now let's talk about what is this audit? Why is there even an audit? And why do I care about it? I don't understand it. What am I supposed to do with it? And why does it say I need to invest $500,000 to save utilities on site? What's up with that? So first, let's talk about what the audit shows you. If you have pursued green lending previously or historically, you, through Fannie Mae especially, you got this audit, okay? It's between 30 and 40 pages long, and what it does is it breaks down what the current state of your property's efficiency rating is and how it's doing that. Let's talk about that. The auditor walks onto your property, right? They're a human being. They walk on site, they get into some of your units, they look at your leasing office, they look at the main equipment that's installed at the property level and then what's installed at the unit level. They are writing down what the efficiency rates are of each of these products, okay? So they're writing down the flow rate of your aerators and your shower heads. They're writing down the flush rate of your toilets, that kind of thing. What's the efficiency rating of your windows? That kind of thing. How old is your boiler? What kind of washer and dryers do you use? How much energy does the dryer require? How much heat does it put off? How much water does the washer use? And how much energy does that require? And how often would you say that it's used? That kind of thing. They're trying to create some sort of normal for what the efficiency rate is, not what the normal consumption is, okay? Your auditor, oh no, your auditor is not taking into account what your actual consumption is. Your auditor is taking into account what your efficiency rate is, assuming that all of your equipment is operating at maximum efficiency. If you are pursuing this kind of lending program, there is a list of auditors or people who have the credentials to perform an audit like this on the Fannie Mae website. And if you need help finding that website, I can help you. I just need you to tell me you need my help. But I'll send you the link if you need it. So you also have an auditor visit your community after you do your conservation work. You have an auditor come. Normally they walk in between 10 to 15 units, and they're checking the efficiency rating of the new equipment that you had installed. That plus this monthly benchmarking effort where you are tracking your monthly consumption up until stuff is installed, and what in comparison to what was originally installed on your community. These three things go into creating what Fannie Mae or your green lender deems as your reduction in utility consumption. And they determine, based on that data, did you hit the threshold that we put in place? And for the Green Rewards program through Fannie Mae, you have to demonstrate a reduction in utility usage of 30%. It used to be 25%, now it's 30%. So that's kind of what it is. That's what, at face value, the audit provides at the beginning of your green lending program, and then what it does at the end of your program. Here's what you need to know. And for my lovely industry partner who is freaking out right now, if you understand nothing else, here's what you need to know. The audit, okay? The first audit that's prepared when this human visits your community and takes note of what the efficiency ratings are of each piece of utility equipment is on your property. What do your toilets, what does a highly functioning toilet, your community, what should it be operating at? What is installed? What kind of aerators are installed? What is the GPM rating for your shower heads? That kind of thing. That audit makes recommendations for you as far as what they think you need to do to hit your 30% reduction in utility usage, okay? Here's the problem, and here's what I want you to think about. Your audit the first audit does not test how the equipment is actually performing, okay? The audit records flush rates, flow rates, the energy usage rate. It does not actually test every piece of equipment on site. Here's why that matters. If you have 1.6 GPF toilets installed on your community and you installed them 10 years ago, okay? 1.6 gallons per flush. And it is December of 2019, and you would like to pursue a toilet or a water conservation effort, okay? Chances are the 10-year-old 1.6 GPF toilet is not functioning at a 1.6 GPF efficiency rate. Chances are that when you first bought the toilet and had it installed, you're golden. Yeah, 1.6 GPF, woo! And it's working and it's great. Here's the deal, y'all. Equipment breaks and malfunctions. And unless you are annually maintaining any sort of utility savings effort, unless you are actively monitoring the equipment, actively taking out the top of your toilet tank and making sure you're not missing flappers, your flappers aren't broken, your fluid master's not leaking, unless you are actively doing stuff like that, the chance of your 10-year-old 1.6 gallons per flush toilet working at 1.6 gallons per flush 10 years later is slim. The problem with that is that your auditor assumes, and at no fault of their own, this is just how the program is built, there is an assumption made that for all the 1.6 GPF toilets installed, that they are operating at 1.6 gallons per flush. The problem is that based on that efficiency rate, in order to hit a 30% reduction in utility consumption, your auditor is going to make recommendations for you to pursue savings elsewhere. Because if you are going from a 1.6 GPF toilet to a 0.8 GPF toilet, well, that's 0.8 GPFs in savings, right? Like that's, or not even, like it's the net savings there, right? It's not as much as what it would be if you had a 3.5 GPF toilet installed. But the reality is that your 1.6 GPF toilet might actually be operating at a 3.5 GPF efficiency rate. So what do, right? You call in an expert. You call in somebody who knows actually how 10-year-old toilets operate. And you call in somebody who has the experience required to demonstrate that though a toilet says it operates at 1.6 gallons per flush, that in fact a 10-year-old 1.6 GPF toilet actually operates normally on average at a 3.0 GPF rate. Okay? What that does for you is it enables you to not have to pursue everything else your HPB audit is recommending that you do, right? So for example, you might be recommended to install a whole new boiler system or, thermostatic shutoff valves in your showers, which if you know what those look like or how those work, those are not good. Those were not built for multifamily communities. But your audit might recommend something like that if it doesn't think that you can achieve the savings required to hit your threshold through a toilet replacement program by itself. That's why this is important. It is important when you're looking at that audit to take it with a grain of salt and call in an expert, because the auditors are not water conservation experts. The auditors are doing their job and they're recording efficiency ratings. They're not testing the equipment, okay? It is in your best interest to always get a second opinion on what your HPB audit says in terms of the recommendations made to achieve your savings threshold. It is always in your best interest to get a second opinion to make sure that in order to achieve a 30% reduction in utility consumption on property, that you do X, Y, and Z. Because chances are you might only need to do X, and Y and Z are not necessary. It's worth figuring out, okay? Because Y and Z are probably very expensive. And if all you have to do is invest in X, then you can achieve the same savings. So always get a second opinion. I hope that provided a little bit of clarity on the HPB audit before your conservation program, and then the audit that comes after your conservation effort, and what's required in the middle. Those audits are a lot and they're intense and it's a ton of data and they can be confusing if you don't know what you're looking at. Always call in an expert. If you want somebody to take a second look at your audit, I'm more than happy to help. I look at HPB audits all the time because we work with so many communities all over Texas to help them get into compliance with that savings threshold that they have to hit to get in, get in good standing with their lending requirements. So happy to help. Thank you for, well, I'm not thankful for your plea. I'm so sorry that this was confusing for our community member who had this question, but I hope this provided a little clarity. And if you do have any more specific questions about, green lending programs, their requirements, what certain pieces of equipment are, or more specifically about different parts of this particular audit, I'm more than happy to help. Thank you for asking awesome questions. Our goal is to always, always, always bring value to the multifamily industry. So if you guys have questions, keep them coming. Stay tuned for more. I'll see y'all later. Bye.